Hi there, thanks for coming to see us. We're going to talk a little bit about Dead Space 3. If you could just give us a quick intro on who you are and what you do in the game.
Absolutely. I'm Shereif Fattouh, producer on Dead Space 3.
Isaac seems to be the most unlucky man on the planet, and we wondered, do you ever feel kind of sorry for him when you're making the game? Think, this is a bit too much, he's never getting a break.
We kind of put him through a lot. I think his attitude has changed a little bit. He's kind of just, when he accepts, like, I'm just pretty much, I'm done. I can't, he understands that he's a little bit unlucky, but it's kind of up to him. So his attitude has he's been a little hardened to it at this point.
So he brings it on himself.
Yeah, it's kind of that Murphy's Law.
And the big thing in Dead Space 3 is the weapon customization, and that was the demo you ran me through earlier.
Yes. Which
is extensive, and one of you want to tell us a little bit about it first?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's one of the big new features that we're bringing, one that I'm generally most excited about, is that we finally are going to be able to combine different weapons, go and scavenge throughout the world, find different resource parts, and really put together the weapon that you feel most comfortable with, that deals most amount of damage, or however you like to play it. So, with this whole new resource system, you go to the weapon bench, the crafting bench, and you literally can make thousands of combinations of weapons. And so if you want to have your pulse rifle on the top attachment, and then you have your missile launcher on the bottom, you can do that. We have all new melee weapons this time around that they use ammo, and they have but they have the very powerful melee beat that a lot of people have wanted to see more of in Dead Space. They always like, oh, the melee, I wish it was a little bit more effective, and now we have a way to balance it, because without breaking the game, we have it so that you have the ability to craft and trade weapons that have melee attachments.
Well, we saw when I was customizing my own weapons, while the top and bottom attachments can be customized to what you want, there's also the extra parts to the gun as well, which I really liked. So I made a rocket launcher, and then I made it a more powerful rocket launcher, and then I thought, well, I'm probably going to kill myself with that rocket launcher, so then I put on the shield attachment that stops you getting hurt by your own weapons, which is genius.
Yeah, no, it's great. You have that upper tool and lower tool are really, that's what we're calling, those are the primary fires, the upper tool and lower tool, then you have your top attachment and your side attachment, and then you can add all of those different traits, like, that's a really good one to have that shield where you can't do damage to yourself, adding more stasis to the shots, the flame blaze, all of that stuff.
It seems like a really versatile, and to the point where actually the first weapon I built was quite terrible. I managed to make a really bad weapon out of a rifle, and it just wasn't good at killing those particular the necrons I was fighting. In the demo, we were able to test our weapons once we built them. Is that going to be where near a bench? Will there be a spawn?
We don't have any plans to have like an in-game spawner where you can like spawn enemies. It is still part of the fiction, like that kind of break the fiction of I'm going to press this button, and enemies come out. But people are having so much fun with it. I'm actually thinking about like maybe we'll talk about putting something like that in as like an extra mode or like outside of game thing.
It is fun. Although a little
test bed,
it would be quite fun to. You've got to really think that I'm building this weapon, and I'm using all my parts to build this weapon.
Right.
And if I make a mess, I've really got a problem with the next area. Get through it.
For sure. But there'll be plenty of benches placed throughout the world, so it's not like it's going to be like one bench location. We'll have tons of benches all around. That's really the heart of our resource and economy system.
The blueprint system, where you have the blueprints for the older guns, the traditional guns, and you can save blueprints for the guns that you create.
Yes.
Is there any plans to allow you to share your blueprints with your co-op partner or something like that?
There are plans to do that. So you absolutely will be able to create your custom weapons and create an awesome combination, and you'll be able to actually share that with friends online and say like, hey, this is what I've been able to create.
The interface is really intuitive and very quick. When I was having my demo, there was a sort of just 5 more minutes and then you're done. And as they said that, I deleted the weapon I just made instead of using it, and I had to rush back in and quickly make this new weapon again. But it seems that you can get a weapon out pretty quick. It's very intuitive dial system.
That's great. That's something that when you have a really in-depth system, you want to work hard at making the user interface friendly and like just something that people can jump into and play. And I think we've been able to accomplish that. With the blueprints, especially, I think it's a nice feature to have for people that might not want to jump in right away. They can use those blueprints as a kind of a starting block, and then riff off of that from there.
That's great. Going back to Isaac a bit, in the previous 2 games there was a sense of loneliness and a detachment from the people around him. Even the people who were there were never with him really, they were always distant, and that probably enhanced the loneliness feeling. Now there are people around him, but I got the sense from the videos we've seen and what we've played that he's not all that keen on the...
Right.
You think he didn't like people around him? He's not that keen on
Well, he's an engineer, so we all know how they are. But no offense. But no, he's always, you know, with everything that he's been through in the narrative, you know, the guy's psyche has gone through a lot, and so the first thing that he's not really going to be that comfortable around other people in general. So it's something that we definitely ties in the story. You see his kind of personality, the person that he's become is very interesting, and you'll see a progression of, you know, throughout Dead Space 3, a very keen progression of you know, where he starts at, where he ends at, and it'll be very interesting from a narrative perspective.
It seems clear again from just the short demo that he knows, although he's not the highest ranking person in this situation, that he's most definitely the best qualified to deal with the situation. And that seemed to cause some friction in at least the very short bit that I saw. That
it's very perceptive. That plays a big element in that.
With co-op play, drop out co-op play, is that going to play into the story? Is the co-op going to be a sort of like a ghost character along with him, or is it going to play in? Are they going to interact?
Well, we definitely don't have any ghost character. Like it impacts the story, because the way that we've crafted the co-op system is, as it is drop in and drop out. Yeah. We actually have very key moments where the story will be slightly different depending on whether you're playing with your co-op buddy or not playing with the co-op buddy. I think if you had seen our E3 demo, we showed one of those sequences where, you know, you come to a scene, and if you're playing in single player, you have Carver, the co-op guy, up on the rafters, and he's calling out for support, and you meet up with him later. If you're actually playing in co-op, you have a separate cutscene where you go in and he talks to you, and you get a little bit more of an intimate story detail between the two. So that's kind of how we're handling it, is creating these kind of custom sequences where you have multiple paths that you have on a dialogue, basically, where, okay, you'll get a little bit more insight into the interactions, but it's all one narrative, it's all one campaign, so it'll seamlessly integrate between them.
Although the co-op character isn't Isaac, obviously, if I'm jumping into someone else's game, will I have my blueprints and things?
Absolutely.
I will be spec'd as my Isaac?
We actually have a different, we have a concept of two save types. So we have the game progress save, and we also have a profile save that stores all of your inventory, your ammo, your weapons, your customizations, and that'll always carry over with you.
Normally, Dead Space set on Dead Space,
right.
On a particular, usually on a large ship. This time we've seen some surface, this tundra planet that we've got to explore. Can you tell us anything more?
Yeah, the ice planet Tau Volantis. You know, a lot of part of the game takes place on that planet. I mean, there's a lot of different locations. And some of the cool things that that's new for Dead Space 3 is that we've seen a lot of stuff out in space. We're going to have a lot of derelict ships and things that people are familiar with, but we have this new environment. And on the planet's surface, there's so many different sub-environments in that. So you have the exteriors, interiors, large open spaces, tight corridors, caves, all those types of things are going to come in, and a few surprises towards the end of the game. I noticed that Isaac has a few more tricks to moving around the environment and in combat. Yeah, absolutely. So we added a whole new kind of mechanic for him as far as evade. So he has now he can dodge left and right, forward roll and backwards roll. It's not game breaking. It doesn't change the way that Dead Space players have gotten used to his movement. It just made him a little bit more fluid. And so we really take advantage of that in a lot of the the newer human enemy combat setups, but also like on the big boss battles and things like that. You can see like him dodging. It just gives another layer of gameplay that we can play off of and create custom setups for.
It's great. Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming to see us. Really enjoyed the demo of the game. Can't wait to play more of it. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
It's happening again. Everyone's dying around me.
Are you with me?